We're just a couple of days away, a little less than a week probably, from Panthers training camp, and the excitement is starting to build. They made the trade. Everything's pretty much complete. Maybe there'll be some new additions coming in. They're talking about Carlos Dunlap possibly being signed. But nevertheless, we know what the roster is going to look like, at least going into camp. I've been breaking down the roster position by position, so if you missed that series, I'll link it down in the description below. But in today's video, we are talking about 5 training camp battles that I will be paying attention to. I will be attending training camp in Spartanburg, and I'll be watching closely. So if you want to stay up to date and around on everything, make sure you are subscribed, because my name is Aaron Duncan here with the Necessary Bluntness Sports Talk. Start off every video by saying, what up, dude? Here on Necessary Bluntness, to do recap and analysis of the squad, the Carolina Panthers. So if you want to see more videos, like I said, hit that subscribe button down below and the bell icon so you get notification, because updates going to be coming quick. Like I said, I'm going to be on the road, right in the thick of things, so make sure you are subscribed. But the first training camp battle that I want to talk about is the elephant in the room, of course. It's that quarterback position. And I'm talking Matt Corral. I'm talking Sam Darnold. I'm talking Baker Mayfield. Apparently, this is actually a quarterback competition. They said that they aren't going to give Baker Mayfield the keys to the kingdom or whatever you want to say. But you don't make a trade this late without giving him the leg up. Nevertheless, my thoughts on this is, people are like, what happens? Apparently, the national media is pushing this thing that Sam Darnold is just some quality starting quarterback. Apparently, according to Mike Robb, I like Mike Robb. I like him going back to his Penn State days, you know what I'm saying, when he played quarterback. But apparently, according to him, Baker Mayfield's not a top 64 arm in the league. Apparently, Baker Mayfield's not a starter in this league. Apparently, Sam Darnold is. I don't know where this love and this love came from Sam Darnold. I think it's just similar to how they used to make up crazy stuff in their agenda with Cam Newton to boost up other people because they hate Cam Newton. It's the same thing with Baker Mayfield. There's an agenda against Baker Mayfield. Certain people don't like him. Certain people love him. I understand. But these narratives creating that they're saying that Sam Darnold is some quality guy and he's just not going out without a fight in this quarterback battle, it seems a little overblown. But nevertheless, I think it could be a competition. How they split reps, I'll be paying attention to that closely at camp. But obviously, Baker Mayfield, he's going to have that leg up because they gave up something to get him. They're not paying him much, so even if he is the backup initially, they're not really hurting. But also, with Sam Darnold, does he have a leg up because he came in early in the spring? I don't know. Is that overblown? Maybe he has a couple week head start, but we saw footage of Baker Mayfield's wife showing him before he even headed to the Charlotte FC game. He was on the private jet studying the playbook and stuff like that. So Baker Mayfield is ingratiating himself into this system flawlessly. But if you've been paying attention to social media, they wouldn't roll out this red carpet at the Charlotte FC game for him if it wasn't going to be the Baker Mayfield show, especially in week 1 against his former team. Now, Matt Corral, hey, if some miracle happens, he ends up taking the position as a starter like Russell Wilson did when they signed Matt Flynn and had Tavares Jackson, but Russell Wilson won the job in camp. I would love that. But I don't think Matt Corral is ready, apparently, and otherwise they wouldn't make this move. But nevertheless, I'll be paying attention to this battle and see who gets the leg up. The next one is a pretty big one also, and this one kind of emerged out of spring. We talked about this on one of my post-draft videos, but it's going to be the left tackle position for Ike Ekwonu and Brady Christensen. Now, it seems like ideally they would love Brady Christensen to play guard. They've been trying to force guard on him even before they drafted Ike from day one. We remember Matt Rhule talking about Brady trying to play guard. To me, last year he looked like a fish out of water, but that was his rookie year. He's been playing left tackle most of his college career. It makes sense. A lot of people are like, just throw Brady Christensen at left tackle. They did. He looked pretty solid in a couple games that he did play. It would have been great to get a bigger body of work. That way you'd have known how to draft. It is what it is. We drafted the best lineman in the draft, Ike Ekwonu. Now we have to decide who we're going to put at left tackle, Ike or Brady, because Brady Christensen, he may be average at best guard, but a pretty solid tackle. Do you put Ike inside and have 2 solid pieces, or do you put Ike at left tackle, possibly get elite play from day one from Ike and maybe marginal guard play from Brady Christensen? I know Brady Christensen was a little bit smaller last year. They preached about him gaining weight, getting bigger, whatever. So we'll see what his body type is when he comes into camp. But this will be something to pay attention to because these guys have some versatility. So this is a good problem, I guess. And we'll see how they split up these left tackle reps. Ike said in camp, he said he wants to be a left tackle. He said that's why they brought him in for. He's been taking all his reps there. He said that in spring. So I think that he'll probably get the first look at left tackle, and this may not even be a battle per se. But the fact that this actually is a narrative, is something that makes me want to pay attention to it as a whole. You guys let me know down below in the comments, who do you think should be the starting left tackle for us, Ickey, or do you think Brady Christensen should be that left tackle and put Ickey at left guard? Let me know down below. And the next battle I have is a pretty interesting one. And this is for that wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 position. Because I just said wide receiver 2 because even though Robbie has a 1,000-yard year under his belt, I think they're really trying to push for Terrace Marshall to emerge. They traded up for him into the second round, remember, passed on some different linemen that were quality on the board for Terrace Marshall. First round talent, just had some injuries, so he slipped to that second round. Didn't really get to catch fire last year because of the injuries. They slowed him down in the spring after the draft, and they never really got him going because we had the struggles at quarterback, of course, but he never really got the playing time that he probably deserved or the catches and the targets he probably deserved. He had a great camp last year, a great preseason last year. I'm expecting him to do the same thing. Even the joint practices last year against the Colts, he tended to have highlights. It seemed like every practice. So I'll be paying attention to Terrace Marshall. I'm really rooting for this guy to take that step up and possibly even take that wide receiver 2 position if Robbie Anderson wants to struggle again, because Robbie changed his name, changed his number. Hopefully it's a new year, new him. He'll get back to those ways that he was with Terry Bridgewater when he had that 1,000-yard year that garnered that $12 million 2-year extension that he got. But we shall see. But also for that wide receiver 3 position, whoever falls down, Rashard Higgins comes in because, hey, Rashard Higgins, that 3-4 spot, whatever. We know he has some background in chemistry with Baker Mayfield. There were some injuries at that wide receiver position in Cleveland, so it seemed like the Rashard Higgins relationship just kind of sparked and developed out of necessity. But it was just weird because Higgins was like the third wide receiver, but he still tended to make play after play with Baker Mayfield, and they just seemed to have a type of chemistry on the deep balls in general also. So I'll be paying attention to Rashard Higgins also, because don't sleep on him. And I think this is a good problem to have. But I do expect Terrace Marshall to play well. I'm rooting for him to possibly get into that number 2 position, maybe even 3, because he has that big body type. He brings some skills that we do not have in our other receivers. So I think his unique size and skill set combination will be something that's pretty effective. It can be a good weapon for us in this offense. The next battle I'm looking at, which is the 4th one on this list, is that cornerback 3 competition. Now, we obviously extended Dante. We took J.C. Horn last year. He only played 3 games, but we know those 2 guys will likely be our starters. Obviously, it'll vary because of packages. It matches up. If we go with nickel, dime packages, having 4 or 5 corners on the field, it'll change, obviously, depending on what type of receivers we have. However, that 3rd cornerback position is going to be between C.J. Henderson and Keith Taylor Jr., in my opinion. Now, obviously, there's some other guys back there, but we traded for C.J. Henderson last year with that Dan Arnold trade to Jacksonville. Things didn't work out. He was drafted in the 1st round. He has a lot of talent. He has the size. He has some skills, and he has some smoothness in his transition, but he needs to get better. Last year was a little bit iffy, but a full offseason with the team, a new experienced coach like Steve Wilks, Evan Cooper working with him still. I want to see CJ, but he's another guy I'm rooting for, just like Terrace Marshall. I want to see him emerge and take the reins, possibly even push for some cornerback 2 time. And obviously, you can never have too many guys that can cover because injuries happen. We saw that last year. We got riddled with injuries between Dante, JC, Stephon Gilmore got hurt at times too. So you never have too many corners. So I want to see CJ Henderson hopefully take that step because he had some struggles last year, but a full offseason with the team and the program, get to figure out what the team wants to do and wants and expects from him. Hopefully he'll be better. But Keith Taylor, the 5th round draft pick, he was a surprise, man. He was surprised. He struggled a little bit in preseason from my aspects. I thought he was going to need a little bit more time just based on like his technique and his smoothness. But when he got his opportunities during the regular season, i.e. the Vikings game, he played very well. They tested him a few times in that Vikings game, but he came up big, making pass breakups and staying in the hip pocket of receivers and playing pretty sticky coverage. And with a guy his size, you can do some things with a guy like that that can actually turn and flip his hips and run with receivers pretty well. So I want to see Keith Taylor do some things too. I love to see this competition between these type of guys, 2 bigger bodied corners with some length. I want to see them battle out for that cornerback 3 position. I don't know who's going to have the leg up on this, but like I said, I'm rooting for CJ, but you can't sleep on that 5th round pick and Keith Taylor because he's far exceeded that one so far. And last but not least, it's probably not even a competition, but I just feel like I got to bump this to the top of the inbox. You know how like you're at work and you're in a corporate job and stuff like that, and somebody might have ignored your email, so you got to add a response to it to bump it to the top of the inbox or the email chain. This one is what I'm doing because I'm talking about this long snapper competition that we got here, because obviously Thomas Fletcher was drafted last year. We wasted a 6th round pick on a long snapper. Where they do that at? Apparently we do that here in Charlotte, but after having a all-world J.J. Jansen long snapper that's been here, probably the only, like I said, he's been the one guy that's transcended between the regimes, between the ownership, the GM, and the head coach. J.J. Jansen was on the Super Bowl team. Him and Shaq are the only 2 guys remaining from that. But J.J. Jansen really hadn't had any bad snaps or anything like that, but they decided to try to draft his replacement. Why? I don't know. It was a feel-good story, I guess, for Matt Rhule, calling Thomas Fletcher, asking him if he wanted to play. But I just think that I had to bump this to refresh you guys, because they got away with murder last year by Thomas Fletcher getting hurt in that last game. Granted, he did get bulldozed and made it look like a speed bump when he got rushed in that last game and hurt his hip that put him out for the season. They were able to stash him on the injured reserve list, and people kind of forgot about it. They forgot that they drafted a long snapper that wasn't even good enough to replace the starter that you had. So they ended up having 2 long snappers. They didn't want to cut him right away as a 6th round pick, because then you're admitting that you made a dumb decision and drafted a long snapper. So this year, what's going to be the excuse? What's going to be the excuse? Because you're going to catch some blowback if you get rid of JJ. And also, if you get rid of Fletcher, what did you pick him for? And if you try to hide him on the injury reserve again, people are really going to start scratching their head. I don't usually question guys on injury, but if something smells fishy, it's probably a fish. You know what I'm saying? Wise man once said. But like I said, we just got to bump this to the top of the inbox. So never forget that the Panthers drafted a long snapper in the 6th round. But that's neither here nor there. I don't get paid to make those decisions. I'm just a part-time GM. It's not my full-time job. I'm a part-time GM. I give my input, and I just put it out there. I'll let you guys give me your feedback. But you guys let me know down below in the comments, which of these 5 competitions are you going to be paying attention to the most? Obviously, quarterback is up there, but let's think outside the box, guys. Give me something juicy to talk about. Let's chop it up down below in the comments. My name is Aaron Duncan, the Necessary Blunt Sports Talk. Make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date on Panthers content, and check that playlist down below in the description to see my training camp roster breakdown. I got 2 more videos going on the position groups. I'll see you guys in those next videos. Peace.